Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. For this week's video, I thought I would do something a little bit more unusual, and therefore I decided I would dig into the least conventional project that I've ever talked about in the 5.5 year history of my online presence, and that project happens to be, as the title of this video already says, Superhero Rewind, the movie. Produced by the Geekvolution YouTube channel, this movie was first released on August 30th, 2025, at least as far as I'm aware, and it was written and directed by by its lead actor as well as main contributor to the to the Geekvolution channel, namely Captain Logan. Full disclosure: when it comes to my decision to review this movie, I am primarily basing it on my personal history with Geekvolution, not as a not as a contributor or anything like that, but rather through my parasocial connection to it. Because when I first started attending university and moved into my current abode, I kind of swapped out TV as my primary source of entertainment for internet video and YouTube more specifically. And Geekvolution was one of the major signaling points of my my transition, and simultaneously my gateway towards literary and narrative analysis, as well as a superhero or pop culture esoterica, aka geeky and nerdy media, more broadly. And it is through watching this channel that I got to learn a lot about some of the most noteworthy comic book characters, some very noteworthy comic book characters, what their major storylines are, how how a character grows and changes over the course of a story, and also how the times in which a particular piece of media is created influences the way that piece of media turns out. Admittedly, some of what I've just described can also be learned from from a decent high school level literature course. And I'm not going to say that Geekvolution is the only means or the only avenue through which I've gathered this information, but it is still one of the principal ones, and it is the one that, if I were to look at all of them in isolation, really helped shape my understanding and my development as a reviewer and an author, most broadly and most directly. Admittedly, I haven't been. I'm not really watching Evolution as much, nowadays as I used to do, but it still holds a a lot of meaning to me. Primarily for my past connection with it, and uh, and uh, and I also consider Captain Logan, who I've already described as its main contributor, to be right up there alongside Linkara and Cinemassacre when it comes to the forebearers of Web 2.0, aka the first wave of people who who film themselves talking about a variety of projects they feel passionate towards, either admiratively or derogatively. And also, and who then went on to make their own creative projects, inspire others to do the same, get online, talk about stuff, make stuff of their own, but also for maintaining a certain level of professionalism that allowed them to maintain a that allowed them to maintain a network of collaborators around them, as well as hold on to and nurture their creative drive for 15 plus years. And when I found out that through Geekvolution, that through the YouTube channel, there was going to be a movie made based on the flagship show of this channel, namely Superhero Rewind. I just knew I had to watch it, because even though I know from personal experience that movies about YouTubers or internet personalities more broadly, even when they are made by these YouTubers or internet personalities, have somewhat of a mixed track record when it comes to their quality, I still knew that watching this movie was worth it. Was I right? Uh, well, my impressions in summary are it's all right. This movie doesn't really do anything in a groundbreaking or mind bending or over the top spectacular manner. Rather, it is simply a clean production with a clear creative focus and drive behind it, and it is that that makes it interesting to interesting to behold, interesting to look at. So if you have any kind of familiarity with Geekvolution, either in terms of its lore or in terms of its or in terms of its more generalized output, well, then I can safely say that this movie is worth at least some of your attention. And now that I've gotten through the broad impressions, it's time I delved into some specifics. The plot of this movie follows an older and more jaded Captain Logan, played by himself, who decides to travel back in time in order to prevent his younger self, played by his son, to yeah. Anyway, back to the beginning of the sentence. Sorry, sorry for my stutter. So, an old Captain Logan, played by himself, intends to travel back in time to prevent his younger self, played by his son, from starting a superhero YouTube channel. When doing so, however, he finds out that his actions end up having consequences far beyond himself. This was from a storytelling standpoint, it's a time travel movie, and I can't really say it does anything particularly grandiose or never before seen with this premise. It's a pretty classic combo of be careful what you wish for paired up with set right what once went wrong. It's a tried and true formula, and I would say it works broadly within this movie as well. Its main problem is actually its focus, because it kind of goes a little bit into at least a little bit into bloat. By that I mean that these consequences that are far beyond the action of the character who instigated them aren't really effectively depicted. They are told rather than shown, and therefore the audience of this movie doesn't really have a clear understanding of how the particulars of this bad alternate present that this movie is setting up actually works, or what they actually look like, what their actual impact is supposed to be. The only clue is given in voiceover, with the movie effectively skipping over what is its most consequential and arguably most its most impactful part. So yeah, not a great step, I have to say. Thankfully, its presentation, and by that I mean lighting, cinematography, set dressing, stage design, that kind of stuff, does a lot to does a lot to make up and make this production somewhat more interesting. It was quite obvious. This movie is quite obviously made on a shoestring budget, but the way in which it is framed and the way in which it presents its action allows it to cover for a lot of its potential shortcomings. Because it manages to keep its sets relatively small and relatively controlled, but their depictions within this within the bad alternate present, or more broadly within the setting that this movie is trying to establish, is nevertheless still broadly plausible and still for the most part makes some sense, allowing a greater degree of immersion within the story. Admittedly, the VFX do kind of affect this immersion poorly, and I could say the same thing about at least some of the choreography. But the bulk of the work is still there, and it is still effective. When it comes to characters and character presentation more broadly, then I think it's fair to say that a lot of it hinges upon Captain Logan, the character, who really has a character arc going throughout this movie, starting out jaded, acting on it, becoming more jaded, and then acting on it again, but better, or at least that's the intention. And because because a lot of the and because, as I've already said, a lot of the broader aspects of this movie can't really be depicted on the on the budget that it is working with. A lot of the gravitas and significance of the story has to come from Captain Logan, the actor's performance. And even though he is playing himself, unfortunately, I don't really find that he really has the gravitas to really sell that particular character arc. So even though the story is there, even though it is put in place, his performance ultimately doesn't allow for that. Ultimately doesn't allow for that catharsis to emerge, and doesn't really allow for that. For this movie to to really effectively shine to its fullest. As for the other characters within this movie, they are mostly fictionalized versions of the other current collaborators of Geek Evolution, all of whom are playing themselves. And basically, your opinion of the performances will very much depend upon whether or not you think the individual performers themselves are charismatic in their own rights. The one exception to that, and I would say the best performance of the movie, comes from Vincent Haskins, who plays Doomsvince, his supervillain alter ego in this movie. Because he brings a lot of passion and a lot of gusto towards every scene he is in. Very much elevating every part of the movie where he gets to be on the screen, and even pushing a lot of his or at least some of his co-stars to the same level. In particular, Captain Logan's best scenes within this movie are opposite Doomsvince or Vince, because of how they are able to push and pull on each other, and therefore get the most out of each other. Other noteworthy performances are, I would say, Jason, Captain Logan's son, who's playing a younger version of his dad, and with whom he has a good rapport, And I also have to congratulate Sarah, Captain Logan's wife, who also makes who also makes some brief appearances. But within those brief appearances, you do still very much see their their chemistry and their charisma. Like you can obviously tell that they've filmed together and they know how to play off each other in that sense. Overall, even though I can't really say that this movie does anything, does anything particularly innovative or outstanding, the degrees of care and attention which everyone involved with its production shows throughout it uh, allows the movie to be elevated to to a degree slightly above other such creations. I'm giving Superhero Rewind the movie a 2.5 out of 4. And yeah, that was my review. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed it, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the movie itself, the Geek Evolution channel more broadly, or my review of it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about the print medium and selected works therein, so if that sounds interesting to you, then you can go ahead and check it out. Link is in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. If that isn't of interest to you, well then I suggest you stay on this channel where, aside from movie reviews, I also review TV series and do retrospectives or pitch videos for both movies and TV series, alongside a variety of other videos. If neither of the options I just presented you with is of interest to you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it for me. So until next time, I have been the One Take Man.